everyone. It is We Connect Wednesday here in the Hub, and I've been mulling over a whole bunch of stuff, and I've been finding journals everywhere. Ooh, I've been finding journals. Anyone else a total journal collector? Got more and more. So I've been going back through them all, and I've been having this amazing time scoping back through all of my journals, and I keep one for every round of the Naturopreneur Club and Hub and Journey, and it keeps me on track. We've got a little bit of a common phrase that we use in the club and the hub around inspired actions and gratitudes, and so I'm consistently thinking about what's inspiring me and what action I can take. What's inspiring me, what action I can take. And I have had the honor of being surrounded by practitioners for the past 3 years now, who every 6 months are creating something new and fresh. And when we think about creating something new, often we think, oh, I'll make it like I did before. I'll make it like somebody else did, and I'll make it something on something else. Right? And so we're actually creating a new version of the past. But what I was reminded by one of my my journals is that there are so many practitioners, emerging leaders in our profession that are creating a future. So a past future is one that is based on something that we've done in the past and wanting to change it or fix it or do it something. And we're still creating what we had in the past. And this is what I talk about here in the Hub and on the whole scope of the Naturopreneur movement is how can we do it differently? How can we create a paradigm shift? And we've had paradigm shifts before, and we hear it in our training as naturopaths. We've had paradigm shifts of the Thomasonian era when we come to, natural health back 200 years ago. We've had paradigm shifts when it comes to the way that we consider the active constituents in herbal medicine. We've had paradigm shifts all along the way, but I'm calling for a paradigm shift in your business and the way that you live your life as a healer, not just keeping everything separate, but bringing something new to the fore, like through you, something very new. Not based on the past, not things that have been broken before, not things that we need to fix, a future. And when we think about a future, all sorts of things are possible. All sorts of things that we didn't think were possible, that we were told probably aren't possible, we get to make possible. And so I wanted to share with some of you guys some of the awesomeness that I have seen when it comes to our Praccies and the emerging leaders that we have in our profession. And I wanted to share it because this conversation that we have doesn't happen enough. The conversation where things are possible doesn't happen enough. We have lots of, but the associations and the government and the this and the that and it's not possible. But there are so many cool things happening and so many emerging, innovative ways of connecting with our clients and connecting the people of the planet with health and well-being. And I wanted to showcase some of the people that I have had the absolute honor of being able to give some tools and ideas to so that you know that it's possible for you too. So whatever you think you've got going on in your head, I promise you there's that and more on the other side of you taking an inspired action into it. So let's start with, this is one of my favorite stories. And I got to hear it at the last Bali retreat that we were on. We were just in Bali 3 weeks ago with our most recent Naturopreneur journeyers. And we had an extraordinary time there, like we always do. Magic gets created on those immersions. And Amy was there, Amy Mingan, some of you guys know Amy. And she was sharing her journey from her first days where she was so excited to bring this new thing to the world. At the time, she was serving a lot of women online, and she has a podcast specifically for women and hormones online and natural health and connecting other naturopaths, nutritionists, and herbalists and other practitioners with women in that natural therapy space. So she's got that now. But back in the day, she was trying to figure out how could she reach more people? Who else is trying to figure out how can I reach more people? I know I was, and she was too. And her big solution to it all, what she came up with, which was in alignment with her at the time, and her next step was running the inaugural Australia's biggest Epsom salts bath challenge. Yes, Australia's biggest Epsom salts bath challenge. So her plan was to get everybody signed up for a downloadable PDF so that you can get an ebook, especially about Epsom salts and how wonderful they are for your body. I mean, we all know about Epsom salts. It's amazing, and it's really good information to give people. But then her plan was to have a bath with everybody online. So the challenge was to get everybody online in the bath at the same time. Do a Facebook Live whilst in the bath and get as many people signed up as possible to it. So going through a process like that changes the way that you show up in your business. Being visible like that, whoa, whole nother level. Now, at the time, I remember having conversations to Amy about her worries that it was a failure because she didn't have anywhere near as many people as she would have liked. The Facebook Live itself was completely dark because there was candlelight. And so she was telling people about Epsom salts full of SLS, like sodium lauryl sulfate bubbles. And she perceived it at the time as a failure. Who else has had something that they have perceived as a failure? I sure have. I've told you guys many a time about my first really big exploration into e-courses, and like 3 people bought it. Anyone else had something that they perceived as a failure, that they were like, I put this thing out and nobody took it. I put this thing out and this didn't work. The tech didn't work. No one signed up. The button didn't work. It's a consistent and ongoing thing if you're putting yourself out there. So the lessons that Amy learned from that were massive, and she helped a small amount of people. And it's been awesome to see how that has evolved. Now, that was a matter of only 2 and a bit years ago. Now Amy runs a huge podcast online. She also is the founder of the Naturopathic Yoga, basically created an entirely new modality, and many practitioners now have her course, her core content as part of their programs, and she is able to reach so many more people through having this online membership program that allows other practitioners to be able to prescribe naturopathic yoga to their clients. But it all started with a Facebook Live in the dark with hardly anyone watching. So if you think you want to create a big membership site, you want to create a whole new modality, you want to create a bigger shift in the world, whatever you're currently doing is absolutely valuable. So the next one, we've got Katie. Katie is an extraordinary human who is in our group, and she has so many gifts and talents. But she is currently in the middle of her Australia and New Zealand wide tour. So she's doing a national tour for the Let's Get Physical program. And Let's Get Physical is all of the things that we kind of sort of thought we needed to know for that exam back at college on physical exam techniques that we maybe sort of not have used as much as we would like, or we never got taught in the first place. So she is an extraordinary, has a lot of experience and lectures in physical exam technique and how to do it with heart. And when I first met Katie, Katie was deciding that she wanted to open up her clinic doors at the local multimodality clinic, and she wanted to really create a space, a physical space, and she wanted to do all of the things and have perfect desk and a perfect this and a perfect backdrop and a perfect all of the things. What she realized over a very short period of time is that she actually really loves to do online consultations, and that's actually what she's evolved into doing. She does amazing work, again, with women in health. And she has basically got an online consulting practice now. And she's extraordinary at what she does. She also has a lot of physical exam techniques that she then passes on to everybody else who can then use it in their physical spaces and places. So it's a really different environment that we live in now as practitioners, that we can bring in all of our skills and talents and then create whatever we really want to that's in alignment with us and our lives and our businesses. All right. Who wants to do retreats? Some of my favorite people that have recently run retreats, and from a We Connect Wednesday perspective, these people are starting to do retreats with 2 people collaborating together to make a catalytic effect of running a retreat that could be better done together than it is done by yourself. So we just had Carly McKeon, who's an extraordinary practitioner with a bumper clinic here in Newcastle. And when I first met Carly, she was trying to leave another practice to burst out on the scene by herself. And she was so excited to actually be empowered to run her own practice that she just started bit by bit to find what she was in alignment with, and then went full laser focus into it. And now she runs a practice that serves a whole bunch of women, particularly burnt out, and on an emotional perspective, and their families, but predominantly women. And she brings in a technique that she's now teaching to other practitioners. But when I first met her, she was wondering how she could do just clinic by herself. So anyone else who's out there that's in a different space or a place and they just want to do clinic by themselves, see, it's possible. You can shift gears, you can change gears, and you can go in and fill your books very, very quickly, which is what Carly did. Her next little project was then to run a workshop series, and she collaborated with the local practitioner to run a workshop series. From that, she had the idea, after she came to Bali, to run her own retreat in Bali and share this emotional freedom technique with other people. And so she started to run her own retreats in Bali. Now she's collaborating with Amy and running a retreat in Bali, and it was completely sold out. Her first retreat overseas completely sold out, and now she's running a practitioner training as well. It's step by step by step, though. Wherever you think you're stuck and wherever you think you would like to be, it's available to you, is what I'm saying. All right. Oh, Jane's got a hand up for retreats. Awesome. Who else is running a retreat? Christine Carley just got back from running her retreat in Bali. Extraordinary practitioner down in Melbourne. And she runs an amazing networking group down there for Western Melbourners. And she ran a beautiful, very aligned retreat for her and her peeps. And she ran it with a practitioner that she works with and collaborates with as well. Her first retreat ever, completely booked out, and she had to create a wait list for her next retreat because it was just so awesome that she put into place all of the things that she'd learnt over her lifetime and some of the things that she distilled in the club as well. Then, who else have we got running retreats? Oh, we've got Christy Scoogle and Emily Connell are running retreats, hydrotherapy retreats, which is super exciting here in Australia. And you can bring in all of your gifts and talents for these types of things, and you don't have to do what other people do. So this is the thing. If it's on your wish list, Jane, do it. And if you would like to bring about things like e-courses, we've got Eddie over in Perth, and many of you know Eddie here in the Hub. He's an extraordinary mentor. If you ever have any oncology cases that you need to get looked at by somebody who has had an extraordinary amount of experience in the field, Eddie's an amazing mentor. He didn't have an official mentoring program when I first met him. He started the mentoring program, and it was like he had a divine download of how he could really serve other oncology patients. And he has an incredible program called the Hero's Journey to help oncology patients through that cancer journey. So, and you know, you'll see if you check out the Naturapreneur Journey, his story's on that page as well. So e-courses are a thing. They're extraordinary and they're amazing. And when you've got the right tools and the right support and people giving you high fives along the way, you can get them done way quicker and way easier than you think. Still on the online component, oh my goodness. Anybody thought about doing a Tele Summit? So a Tele Summit is interviewing a whole bunch of people in the same kind of general area who have an expertise in that particular field that you would like to share that information about. I've signed up for Tele Summits before. I ran one about 5 years ago called the Success Series, and or the Success Summit. And I got to interview some of my like heroes, people who are so extraordinary at what they do. And again, having more voices, we are better together. We Connect Wednesday, having more voices, sharing it in all the nuances of the voices that you choose to have on board for a summit really creates a powerful way of doing things. Geraldine Headley, who is also a Nat Club graduate, she is extraordinary at getting people together. She's a networker, like, and she got together some of the most amazing people that she knew in the field of pediatrics. Now, she's got a lot of background in pediatrics as a nurse. She's also got connections in pediatrics as well. And what she realized was when she could get those collective voices together from all the different angles around pediatrics, and if you haven't gone and seen it yet, the Australian Pediatric Natural Pediatrics Online Summit, something like that. Go and check out Geraldine's site. She's got all of that there, and it is extraordinary. It was 4 chock-a-block days, like back to back, of just extraordinary, amazing content. And she didn't have to put it all together herself. She got all of these extraordinary people that she could interview and bring together because one of her skills and talents is how to connect people. So what are your skills and talents? How can you connect with other people and make something that is even bigger and better than you can imagine? Geraldine also has an amazing mentoring program, and she was, when I first met Geraldine, was running lots of different little bits and pieces, but then she was able, after she came to Bali, was able to really focus in on the things that she's a genius at. And yeah, hence where all of these amazing, awesome things have come from. All right. Then, who have we had recently? Oh my goodness. So recently we've had some peeps who are in a zone of, what am I going to do now? None of the things I've been doing are working. Who else is doing that? I'll put these things to the bottom of my list and I'll get to them eventually. But why isn't my business working? So Janelle Burns was one of those. But look, I've got lots of things that I've got to do, but I haven't quite got round to them. And then being part of the club and the journey, she's been an integral part in helping others and reflecting back to others. But she put a booking system online. Boom, the button went up and she got new bookings. She updated her website. Boom, got new bookings. She got so many new bookings, she decided to put her prices up. Boom. New bookings straight away. It was like magic was happening every time she took the action that she had been putting off. And I bet there's a whole bunch of you that are doing, I'll get around to it eventually kind of stuff. But she took action on that. She took action on becoming visible. She's now presenting a workshop at a rural conference for women, a national conference. It's awesome when you take action and you're surrounded by people who can high five you to do the same thing. So then we've got people like Sharon Hesby, who has been running online programs for ages. And she just took some of those online programs and figured out what to do with the one thing. So some of you already have online programs or workshops or things that you just ignore because you think that they're there all the time. She's taken all of those and then repurposed them. She had a sold out webinars that she got paid for. Every single person on the webinar paid her, and it was completely sold out for what she wanted to do. And on the same day, she went and did that same content to a corporate. She had a corporate gig and shared the same content. repurposing all of this extraordinary value to create the ripple effect of health, not just in one space online, or offline, but in a corporate setting. And we've had other people like Mary Lee Shuhon, who has been doing corporate gigs or full community-based days, where her corporate course, her wellbeing program, was set up in an entire office block and was shown on all of the screens so that people could join in. We've had Hayley Dawson, who was running 2 very busy practices. She was going from one place to the other, wasn't sure what to do, eventually chose one space, and now she's creating one of the biggest rural wellbeing days that Victoria's ever seen. And it's extraordinary to see how, when you get permission, when you take on board, yes, that's possible, instead of having a green-eyed monster about it, yes, that's possible, what can we do collectively to do it? It absolutely fills my heart. I absolutely love it. I have like so many names and so many examples of people getting their gifts and their talents, connecting with other practitioners who are like-minded, who are high-fiving them along the way, and then seeing what's possible and taking inspired action to see it through. And I wanted to share with you a couple of them today. And many of you have seen people standing up on the NATX stage. You've seen people in my videos. You might have even seen them here in the hub where they're having a Celebrate Any Day. And I have been so honored to have them on the journey. If you are considering that you would like to take these to the next step or the next level, I'd love for you to contact any of those people that I was just talking to see what it took for them to do the things that they're doing, because they've done it, therefore you were able to do it too. And if you're considering it, I would love to have you in the Naturpreneur journey. I'd love to have you come to Bali for the immersion, have the same magic that's happened to so many people. I'd love for you to connect with all of these people, because we've got an amazing group that we are continually in every week, high-fiving one another, pushing through those blocks and getting those things done to create this ripple effect and changing our profession from the inside out. So I am so grateful for every single one of you and what you have inside you to create. And I hope that this has been beneficial for you to see slightly outside what you might have been thinking about and think even bigger. All right, I'm going to double check who's in here. And Janelle says she doubled her clients and people have said my new prices are still cheap. Totally. Who else has put their prices up? There's a couple of you guys in the hub here that have been inspired already and put your prices up, and then people are still saying, or you're still getting the people who aren't quite your peeps. We've had people who are making actually 9 times the amount of money that they were making from the beginning of the club to now. We've had them quadruple the amount of people that they've been seeing. We've had so many different things, not only on a business scale, but on a personal scale as well. We've had so many clubs to babies being born and still businesses thriving at the same time, because it's possible. The things that you don't think are possible are totally possible when we're all having the same conversation. So if you haven't checked it out yet, tammyguest.com/naturpreneur-journey. And I'd love to see you in there if it rings true for you. And I will catch you tomorrow for a Training Thursday. And you won't want to miss this one. I'm super excited to share it with you. And then Freaky Friday, we're going to be talking about something a little bit freaky and something I actually wrote a book about called Freedom from Fatigue, all about burnout, because it's a really big thing for our profession and I've had enough of it. So I'll be in here at 11:11 on Friday to talk about burnout, and you don't want to miss Training Thursday tomorrow. All right, catch you guys later. Bye.